Hello peeps, Averageteadrinker here, and we are back again with another walkthrough commentary video, and today we'll be going through a plus 14 Siege of Boralus I did in a completely full pug run. In the video, I'll go over my thought process for the bosses and trash packs, and then I'll break down when I pop my defenses and cooldowns, alongside some tips I've learned throughout the dungeon. This run was pretty tight. I believe we timed it with 2 seconds left, and it was not the smoothest run, but we got the W in the end. And I think, honestly, it will be good to show the mistakes throughout the run and how that can affect the key overall. In the key as well, I am still using the Ice Strike, Elemental Blast and Nova build. And on a side note, if you do like the UI and the weakers, then just join the Discord. We're getting a lot of new people in there. It's really nice to see, and it's all free. Onto the dungeon. Right, so into this plus 14 siege. Just in regards to the comments on the previous videos with the Tempest pre-pull shenanigans before the dungeon starts, I'm going to make a short. I'll most likely link it in the description if it's out before this video, the siege video comes out. So swiftly moving on to the dungeon itself. I have 7 here. I've popped Descendants and Wolves just before, so I have 10 Maelstrom, so instantly I'll get a Tempest proc. So I should. But it doesn't end up working out that way. Sometimes it's a little bit buggy with the counter because it is a weak aura. So you'll see once we get into the pull, it's not actually going to give me a Tempest. So it kind of throws me off a little bit and messes up my first pull. So here we're pulling in the Wave Shaper pack. Because we've got a prop warrior, I didn't run over and kick it because he's most likely going to be using Spell Reflect. You want to be focusing down the Enforcer. The main cast to worry about is the Shattering Bellow cast, which is a heavy hitting AoE party-wide damage. And then you want to be worried about the bombers doing their single target damage to you, which you can interrupt with CC. So here I got my 2 Flame Shocks up, and as you can tell, I didn't get a reset, so I kind of thought, well, just to get the pull rolling, I'll pop Ascendance, which I normally save up until this pack up here, which is the Lust pack. You may have noticed as well, 2 of those bomber casts were on me. They went through anyway. The priest tried to stop them with his fear. And we just had the Shattering Bellow cast, and as you can see, I popped Astral. If I hadn't, I most likely would have died on this, so definitely always use something for the Shattering Bellow cast. And just make sure to kick the Wave Shaper on their Brackish Bolt. And if the Watertight Shell goes through and you have Purge taken as a talent, make sure to just instantly purge it off. As I was saying though, this first pack was quite bad for me. Like I said, the weak aura bug threw me off, and I just thought we need the damage because I don't have a Tempest rolling in straight away. So after you kill this, we're now going to do the Lust pack. You're going to have the Wombo combo. Just going to quickly mention it. The Raider and the Enforcer. So the Enforcer, again, they're going to do the Shattering Bellow cast, which is a heavy hitting dot. Not a dot, sorry. A heavy hitting AoE cast on the party. And then the Raider has the pull-in, which is also a pretty nasty hit, which pulls everyone on top of him. So they generally line up kind of very close together on the start of the pack. So you want to have something rolling, or you want to instantly health pot as soon as you get hit by one of them, just to be topped. So you can hear my weak aura screaming at me to use my potion, but in this route, because we don't have a rogue, we are actually skipping after this pack here. So I saved my pot in case you're wondering why I haven't popped it. But just discuss with your group to see. As you can see, I popped Bulwark Totem there just for the initial hit. So that kind of carried me through with the chain and the Shattering Bellow. Luckily for Enhancement, we've got a good amount of damage even outside of. And you can see, well, you can't see, you may have noticed, the DK actually potted. A lot of people tend to do this, so I'm releasing this video on the hope that if you do end up doing a siege and you are doing a skip, please don't be like the DK who uses his pot, because you waste 15 seconds from the death now, this expansion, and you're going to be wasting more time for everyone else to run and then res you. And with these sort of key timers, any amount of extra time you can get is very much needed. So I'm just going to skip. We end up invising past. And then we res him. I use my invis part and Windrush Totem just to help people get through. So DK died just in front. We're getting a res out. And these are the sort of same mobs you were just dealing with in the first area. I was kind of annoyed, honestly. I put, can't really believe this still happens, but yeah, it does, even at these key levels. So here we have the Raider who's going to pull us in. Want to be kicking the Wave Shaper. Want to be watching out for the Firebomb cast from the Bomber. With this first boss as well, it's not really needed for Lust, just because he has many damage increase phases, and he also takes increased damage from the bombs he ends up getting kited into. It does not go well this first boss though. We instantly lose 3 people, but you'll see coming up. So here I pop Ascendance because I generally feel like it's better sending it on this pack because, as I said, we have a lot of direct damage from either Elemental Blast or Tempest windows for when the boss gets increased damage. And I don't think saving Ascendance for one of those windows is worth when it's normally up for this pack, which is still quite a nasty pack you need to be dealing with. As you just saw there, the Raiders, after they pull in, they do the Savage Tempest cast, so just make sure you waddle out of that. Feral Lunge to get closer, just to get my chain landings on multiple. I cleaved my Tempest there. Always want to be careful of the Heavy Slash from the cleavers. And here, these are the bombs. So you can see he's stunned. I've got my timer here. So as soon as that ends, he's going to stop taking the increased damage, which I believe is 50%. I'm just going to quickly pause. One thing for this boss is there's sometimes a bug where you end up just getting randomly meleeed when he's resetting onto a new target for on the hook, because the main component is he charges someone in range and they kite him around the room. And if there's bombs up, you kite him into the bomb and you just rinse and repeat. But sometimes he'll finish that after being stunned and then he'll just randomly hit you for all your health. So what I've started doing is as soon as he is finishing his damage phase, I tend to back away just in case he does end up meleeing me. It's just a safer alternative and you don't run the risk of accidentally getting meleeed. Another thing to worry about are probably the powder shot mobs. They do quite a lot of damage with the Molten Slug cast, so if there is a couple of them up and you do notice a few of them being cast at you at once alongside the Iron Hook, pop a defensive. So here I'm just kind of holding my Tempest, stacking up Maelstrom, instantly sending 2 of them back to back in the damage phase. And as you can see, I've not held any cooldowns and we're doing a good amount of damage still. So I've used my defensive on the Gore Crash there because we got hooked in just before. So now there's a moment where we don't have any bombs up. We're waiting for the bombardments to come down. I stopped that Molten Slug cast with a knock-up. I've got another one on me. So here, this is where it goes wrong. The cast stops. So this finishes, even though he's on top of it. And it ends up killing all of us. So if you're a range player watching this, it's kind of unlucky at the timing of the on the hook and when the bombs came, but you're going to watch what happens. So we all get pulled in. He gets pulled into the bomb. We all get cleaved. Thankfully, Shamans have reincarn. It's not really the priest's fault, honestly. It's just kind of unlucky timing. Possibly he may have been able to do something, but with the way it looked looked quite tight for him to actually do it. So here he got double hit by the bomb. He got double damage taken because he gets damaging hits to him every single time he hits a bomb. So we end up finishing that off. We have to use the CR. and that's the first boss. But I'm just showing you all the stuff which can potentially go wrong. We have to res him manually because if he releases, it releases a little bit further back where we just skip with him as pop. So if you're ever in that situation, don't release. So unfortunately here, the patrol wasn't up. And just one quick thing. The curse blades, I wasn't really on the case with this. Playing with pug tanks, I tend to honestly forget. It's my bad. But they put a pretty nasty debuff which reduces the tank's healing by 15%, I believe. And it stacks, I'm pretty sure. So you want to be dispelling the tank with Curse Dispel. I believe he dwarfed this one, and then we end up killing the Curse Blade, so he didn't get another stack. But it's just something to be mindful of. If you see the tank dipping or is kiting, and you've got Curse Dispel, just throw that out on the tank. So the Shredders jumped out in range, just one-shot the Priest. You could use CC here just to stop when you see the timer of their next jump. Here I probably should have popped Astral, but I'm not used to it going on melee. So you'll see I'm pretty sure it goes on me here. Nearly does all my HP with both of them. So if you are in this very specific situation where your range die and you're waiting, maybe use something. And then here I kind of just, even though I just explained regarding the release, don't release. Ignore what I just said in game. So I'm just going to skip ahead while we wait. So now we have the patrol and this wave shaper pack. So we've got the commander, which is going to do an Azerite charge. So you kind of want to slightly move away from your group, let them move away from you. So you can see it goes on Clownberry there. You can see the tank also has his Curse Dispel, which I'm being oblivious to because I'm a bad player, so don't be me. And we had the watertight shell go through, because I believe I kicked nothing. So the Azerite charge does a dot as well after the initial hit, so definitely use defensives if it does go on you. Kick the bolstering shout because that reduces the commander and any allies of them damage taken. So here, what you can do, and I even told them to wait, so it just looks really bad. So my initial plan is that this event, you can put Earthbind Totem or Earth Grab Totem on top of this group here, and it instantly stops the artillery shooting. So you don't have to like hide. You can just instantly cancel out the event, and you can all just move up. What I realized today when doing this dungeon is if you don't manage to place it on top of the spotter, even if you target all the other snipers, it won't stop the event. So you'll see here, it doesn't hit the spotter and they shoot and I die. But you can, if you place it further back on top of all of them, stop the event. But again, I left it in. Doesn't look good on me, but it's another thing you won't do and I won't do again in the future. So moving on, my embarrassing misplay. We're just killing the spotter here. We end up pulling this pack on the left. I end up using my Primordial Wave just because I'm not going to get a Tempest off. Because generally when you die, you end up having a slightly bugged weak aura on the Tempest tracker until you proc another Tempest. There's meant to be a thing regarding the spotter here where if you slow him or root him, he won't run away. I don't believe it works for Earthbind Totem because he calls for it here. I pop down Earth Grab, which also does the effect of Earthbind. and it doesn't work, and it doesn't work on 30% HP either. So, because that's when he flees on 30%. As you can see, he's running away. Even when it is slowed by our totem, it still doesn't work. So I'll skip slightly ahead. We just go over the ship. Here's quite a nasty pack. You've got a caster, you got the powder shots, and you got the commander. I end up popping Ascendance. I primed my P-Wave there with a Tempest instantly. Just focusing down the commander. Again, I'm just ignoring the tank with Cursor Spell. Don't be me. I'm still kind of getting used to, honestly, playing with Pug tanks. Normally they remind me at the start of the key, but because he didn't and it was my first key of the day, I just spaced out and just forgot about it. So I'll hold my hands up. So here I've got 9. As soon as I spend here, I've got a Tempest proc. I pop Fine over to get to 10 Maelstrom stacks. And I instantly send my E-Wave Tempest combo. Using my Arc Discharge procs here before using another Tempest. Dodging out the frontal. Trying not to go in the commander. As right charge. With this sighted artillery, you can stack 2 of them in the exact same spot, but you have to be moving straight away because you will get clipped by the first one. In this pack, you should really be focusing down the commander as well, so you get less of the Azerite charges. So here I'm just moving away with the artillery. Got Lust, I'm going to send it straight away. We don't have Ascendance, but I don't mind popping it before the boss because you'll have it for one of the phases at least. Anyway, so you don't want all of you guys popping both of your cooldowns or all 3 of your cooldowns if you play triple DPS. All in the same phase. So the main mechanic you kind of really need to be watching out for, and which will kill you, is the Fiery Ricochet cast. It is a really heavy dot, so always try use something defensively, or use healing surges on yourself just to keep yourself topped. Here I tend to always try to save a Tempest and my P-Wave, just so I can instantly burn down these ads, because the quicker you get them down, the quicker you get back to the boss phase. One thing I'll mention with this bombardment you see coming out, if you're closer, sometimes the second set of bombardments actually come first, so you can kind of get caught off and just instantly get clipped. So just for my own safety reasons, I tend to hover around on the inner side of this circle when the bombardments are coming out. So I'm here, I'm just cleaving off the deckhands, focusing down the cannoneer. So I've got Ascendance now for the second phase, so it kind of worked out. Fiery Ricochet is going off. I pop AG just to help keep people topped up. As I said, it's a really nasty dot. You want to be wary of the clear the deck frontal, but it's kind of hard to miss now after they changed the visual of it, as you can see. And then with this sighted artillery, it would make more sense if you stack together, but as I said, this isn't a clean run. We kind of weren't all on the same page. People are moving in different directions, so in these sort of situations, you kind of have to play every man for themselves and just make sure you don't die. So again, it's the same sort of, so it's the exact same as the previous one, so I'm just going to skip over to the next bit. So here we shot the boss down after killing the cannoneer. I have health potion here. I'm not sure if I use it. I'm just kind of seeing if the healer's going to keep me topped with the fiery ricochet, which he did. Good job to Mr. Healer. Or Mrs. Healer. Me and a DK kind of melee melding here, but we're losing uptime, so it's not the cleanest. You can do it where you don't lose any uptime. You can't get to this as a shaman to stop this event, and it's different from the one before. You have to get right next to them and you have to attack them. You can't pop Earthbind Totem because it won't go over the barrier. So you normally just let the tank go up. Right, so for this area, just play it on a little bit. I'm just going to quickly go over the cast. So the Crushing Slam is the biggest hitting ability, which does party-wide damage. The Banana Rampage, you can see the swirlies. You don't want to be standing on these. They're also going to pop down all these little bananas everywhere, which will stun you if you walk over them. So you don't want to get comboed with the next cast of the Demolisher, which is the Fear. And then you're going to have a few kicks on a few different mobs. So the Tempest, the most important kick out of all of them is the Choking Waters. So thankfully the DK gripped that there to stop the cast. I've got my focus kick on the Pillager. I end up eating a banana there. I've got Tempest, pop P-Wave, pop Wolves just before I send it. Spreading out my Lightning Rod debuffs on targets with my Arc Discharge procs. I have Ascendance here. Can't remember if I pop it, honestly. So here, if you do want to stay in and you do take Tremor Totem, you can just Tremor that Fear. Generally, it's always better to just run out, though. But as I said, the most important cast is the Choking Waters, especially if it goes on the healer. And then you just want to throw any spare CC or kicks on the other casts. So in this situation, we end up waiting for this Demolisher because we skip it to go over here. So I'm just going to go a little bit ahead. So that Demolisher passed. Now pulling this Demolisher and this pack up here. Quite a nasty pull, quite a big pull. I end up knocking up both of those Choking Water casts. So because of the changes, they're going to instantly recast. So one of them ends up going off on the Org. Here I'm kind of munching my Tempest procs because of Ascendance. It was a very bad Ascendance window for me. Use my Arc Discharge proc there. My Lava Lash didn't refresh my Demolisher Flame Shock because it ran out, so I Lava Lashed nothing essentially, just put Lashing Flames debuff, which is again a misplay on me. Ran into a banana. Pretty nasty pull. We've got P-Wave, we've got Tempest, stacked up to 9, center. I use my Cap Totem. Now I'm just funneling through Arc Discharge procs. End up kicking that Stinky Vomit, which is a disease dot. If you're a dwarf, you can cleanse that. As I said, any spare kicks, just throw them out. But make sure you always stop the Choking Waters cast. That's the important one. So that goes on me. Not sure if I had dwarf. You can see the debuff on me there. I end up popping Earthbind just to help the tank kite. So now you would, if you don't have a priest or a rogue, you always skip this spotter pack up here. So you would have had to have saved a Immiz pot. Because we have priest, we have Mind Soothe, so we can just run past. I just thought I'd quickly mention in case you don't have our comp. Pretty nasty combo here. you get the Azerite charge, and we have the hook coming in straight away afterwards. I popped my Astral Shift. So again, I went down to about 40% HP there with Astral up. So potentially could have died with that overlap. So it's something to be mindful of. Another one. So we end up chaining this raider into this pack here. A good thing is Poison Cleansing Totem here for the invaders. They do a pretty nasty dot on the tank, which stacks, which is a poison debuff. So you can use Poison Cleansing Totem just to help out if the tank ends up getting a good amount of stacks. I end up getting aggro on a destroyer, so I have to get CR'd. Enhance things. So our plan was always to kill that wave shaper there and then chain into this pack just to save more time. So interrupting the watertight shell or purging it if it does go off, I knock that up. I kick the bolt. The bolstering shout actually ends up going off there, as you can see, so they're all actually taking reduced damage, which is not good. You definitely want to be stopping that. Another important kick to stop. This is where having coordinated groups is handy, because you could always have the tank just kicking the commander, which he said he was going to. Here I end up popping Poison Cleansing Totem because I saw both of the casts going back to back. So it got rid of the 2 of the stacks there, and then another one. Just helping the tank out. We end up chaining because, again, we're pretty low on our timer. Wasn't my key, so I thought I'd ask if we need Bloodlust. Generally, you want to save it for the last boss, for the tentacles, because it's quite a high damaging fight, the next one. Just with the Slam and the Dispel. So here I'm trying to be a little bit greedy with getting as much uptime as I can, just because the timer isn't looking the best. With the Breakwater, which you can see going off here, does a lot of damage. You'll always want to be having something. I believe I used Bulwark Totem here for the first one, and then I've got Earth Alley up, which is giving me an extra 5% damage reduction, and it's giving me 15% HP, so that's going to carry me over until my next Astral Shift. It's probably going to get to the point as well where I'm going to have to start taking Spirit Wolf talent again, and then just be sitting in that and stacking up that damage reduction. Blizzard, if you're listening, please change it to work instantly to get 20% DR and end decay, please. So here you can make use of the fountain. You can step up there just to walk around easier. We end up losing the tank. Thankfully, DKs are basically invincible, so he actually tanks a melee hit on the 14 because he popped Icebound as well. Throughout this dungeon as well, I wasn't getting the PI, the DK was. Just throwing that out there. So I'm just dodging the frontal. Got a Tidal Surge. You can see if you were stepped a little bit further back there, you may potentially instantly die because you'd be spawning and being English. If you were stepped slightly further back there, you would be stood on top of the spawns and you would instantly die. So never run too far back. So I don't really have anything for these breakwaters now. I've got no Astral, I've got no Bulwark, I've got no Earth Ellie. Thankfully, I do have 5% avoidance, so that will play its part. You can see how low I get on this one. Also, another tip is with the breakwaters, you can see how I'm kind of standing outside of that square. That's the best place to pop them because then you're not cluttering up the water area where you hide behind. So here, 5 minutes left, really tight. We do have lust though. So you want to be wary of getting down there. You can jump over that little spot. I just full W'd. Confident in my ability. So I instantly dwarf that Putrid Waters debuff, as you can tell. I popped Bulwark Totem just for the slam, because if you get the first to spell, the slam from the Demolisher here, who we're focusing down, comes pretty quickly. So unless the healer can top you relatively fast, it's best to use a defensive. And you can see here, 3 of us are melee, so you've got 1 here, me in the middle, DK on the left. If you're 4 melee, good luck, is all I'll say. So I've saved my trinket. I'm going to pop that once this Demolisher dies on the gripping. Didn't use anything for the slam just because we had Priest Bubble. One thing you can do, which I end up doing here, is as soon as that dies, you can just instantly Pharaoh Lunge if we just go slightly to the left. So I pop my cooldowns, pop trinket, just nuking down this gripping. Would have been nice if the priest gave us PI on that one, but the DK had reserved it. So I'm waiting for the tank to go over, because if you go over first, you're going to get melee by the Demolisher. Here I pop P-Wave there just to get a bit of cleave damage onto the gripping as we get ready to set up on a demo. We end up popping Lust, just burning down this Demolisher as quick as we can. Healer's dispelling me there. I end up popping Potion because we still got a little bit of Lust timing left, so makes sense popping it in the Lust window to get the most value out of it. Can use Pharaoh Lunge just to get over to the gripping or the demos faster. So we've got 2 minutes left. We've got one gripping on this platform, and we've got the demo and the gripping on the next platform. So honestly, at this point, I didn't think we were going to time it. I thought it was completely done. But we were blasting this down, me and the DK. Everyone's full pumping. I do end up pressing Dwarf there. I tend to just press it on CD. I did end up knocking the DK, but he was angled in a position where he got knocked towards the little hill area there, so he didn't actually get flung too far. So again, I pop P-Wave, just get a bit of cleave damage. I end up popping AG because we had the slam. I'm just edging away from the DK with the Putrid. So we got a minute. The DK's popped its cooldowns on this demo. It's getting absolutely deleted. I've got Ascendance coming up in 30 seconds. So here I do actually still have Astral ticking over from the last slam. So it helps me. Healer doesn't dispel me because I did have my defensive up. 46 seconds left. We just managed to kill that. I ended up being a little bit greedy there. I didn't wait. I thought we just don't have the time to be waiting for the swirlies. So I just instantly feral charge. Again, another great use. Pop Tempest, pop Ascendance, and I'm just having at it, blasting this down. Got some nice Wolves RNG. Got dispelled. The other one's on the tank, so he can live a bit longer. Everyone's on the same page not to grief with the swirlies. Then you shoot. Boom. 2 seconds left. Plus 14 done. First 14 done of the season. I was really happy with it. I honestly did not expect it. Yeah, it was good. Got us up to 369 score. We're actually in 0.1% range already. I know it's kind of the start of the season, but it's good. And we did 2.4 mil overall without PI. So pretty good, I think, considering it wasn't a smooth run. But that's it. As always, join the Discord. Get notified when I go live on Twitch. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.